Hey, what's going on? My name's Hayden Crabtree, and today we're going to be talking about the top 3 real estate investing opportunities of 2022. All right, so the next biggest asset class that I'm on the lookout for in 2022, and I think other investors like yourself should be as well, is industrial real estate. So industrial real estate, this is big warehouses. You know, you see huge Amazon warehouses all the way down to really small kind of auto body shops, you know, places that have multiple car bays and things like that. All of that falls within the industrial classification of real estate. But specifically what I think are really hot assets are warehouses, big single tenant warehouses ranging anywhere from 20 to 100,000 square feet. I think this is a great range that a lot of people can invest in. You might have to go raise capital because these buildings can be expensive. What's really great about these buildings is something called a triple net lease, okay? NNN. We talk about this in my second book, 3 Keys to Any Deal, the different kinds of, you know, the leases and netness of leases. Essentially what a triple net lease is, if you're not familiar, it means that you let the tenant come into your property and rent it from you, and you don't have to worry about anything, right? If the roof leaks, they fix it. They pay property taxes. They pay insurance. They literally pay everything. And so if you get a triple net lease, that is probably the most passive form of real estate investing that you can get into. And it's very, very powerful. It's also really powerful inside of the industrial space because when COVID hit, a lot of different industrial sectors have taken off, okay? One industrial sector that has taken off is cold storage, as people are now getting their groceries delivered more and people are, you know, staying at home and ordering more things offline. That's just one kind of niche in the industrial sector. But other, you know, other general distribution warehouses, things like that, as Amazon has risen, we can start to see their warehouses everywhere. But there's a lot of smaller people running internet businesses who need space, and that is really driving a lot of the industrial sector up, is the boom of the internet. I mean, it's not like, you know, the internet is new or anything, but COVID has driven more and more people to using the internet to buy goods off the internet. And let's think about this for a second. Do we need as much retail space as we did per person, right? So if we think of a 100,000 person town, if everybody used to go in person to buy their groceries, if everybody used to go in person to buy their electronics from Radio Shack, whatever happened to those, right? And so if you think about all the different retail space that used to be needed, that space is just transitioning from retail. We don't need as much retail anymore. Not that retail is going to go away forever, but we don't need as much of it. All of that demand hasn't gone away. It's just that demand has shifted from going and buying in person to getting things delivered to your home or to picking up at a pickup point or whatever it is, right? It's just shifted, and all of that space is shifting over into the industrial sector, and a lot of businesses need it, a lot of consumers need it. Industrial is here to stay. Triple net lease is extremely powerful. Pretty much every single dollar you receive is a dollar of NOI. That doesn't mean that all leases that are in industrial are gonna be triple net. There are some normal where the tenant just pays rent, you know, and you as the landlord, you pay insurance, property taxes, repairs, maintenance, you can pay all that. So it's what you can negotiate, right? But if you're going and you're buying an old warehouse, let's say that an old warehouse that's empty, you know, and you wanna fix it up and you wanna make it nice, you wanna do value add, and you wanna do all these different things, whenever you go to lease it, get to determine what kind of lease do I want to put into play. And going from a non-triple net lease, going from a standard lease to a triple net lease can be a form of value add in and of itself. And that's really cool because not a lot of asset classes offer the ability to sign triple net leases, right? Like in my self-storage properties, I can't sign triple net leases. I can't tell the tenants, hey, you're gonna pay property taxes and insurance and all that. They're gonna say, no way, right? If I have a rental house or an apartment complex, I can't do that. And so industrial is cool. It's one of the few asset classes that triple net leases are standard and are really cool. So one of the really cool things about industrial real estate and it being triple net is that its leases still go up. And one of the really cool features of it is you can actually negotiate on the front end when your lease prices are gonna go up. And so I actually have a little chart here for you guys. Let me show you what this chart looks like and let's walk through it. I'm gonna leave this on the screen while I talk through it. This is the taking rent growth versus versus the asking rent growth. So taking rent meaning what somebody actually is willing to pay for it, what they sign the lease at, and then the asking rent is what people are advertising it at. So if we look at this chart is over the last 12 months, and thanks to our friends at CBRE for providing this data here, is that on warehouses from 10 to 25,000 square feet, the changing asking rent was up 7%, and the changing taking rent, meaning what people are actually paying, is 5% year over year, right? So landlords were asking from 10 to 25,000 square feet size buildings or spaces, they were asking for a 7% increase, and on average they're getting about a 5% increase. So one of the things about industrial real estate too is that they take the size of the building. So let's say we have a 10,000 square foot building, and they'll say, hey, the asking rent is $4. What that means is that the asking rent is $4 per square foot per year. Okay, so if there's a 10,000 building and the asking rent is $4, that means the total rent for the year is $4 times the square footage, so $4 times 10,000, that's $40,000 for the year, and then the monthly payment will be that amount divided by 12. So 40,000 divided by 12 comes out to $3,333 a month. So if we're looking at a building, or if we're looking at trying to run the numbers on an analysis and it's 10,000 foot and we're looking at comps to figure out what the rental rates are, that's how that equation works, okay? And so next up on this graph, we have 25,000 to 100,000. That's a big range. Again, landlords were asking for 7% more, and they're getting 5.1% more. So still a great 5% rent increase. Next up, we have from 100,000 to 500,000 square foot. These are big places. These are huge warehouses, right? Landlords were asking 5.8%, and they're getting 11.6%, which what that tells me is that there is a extremely high demand for properties of this size, right? If we as landlords are this is kind of like putting a house on the market. Hey, I want to sell my house. I'm going to put it out there for $1 million, okay? And I start getting offers at 1.2 million dollars. Like, wow, I had no idea that the market was willing to pay. That's the same thing that it's saying here. Landlords were posting it for $10 a foot, and people are coming in and saying, man, we'll give you $11 a foot, $12 a foot. And so that's what this chart shows here. And then 500,000 square foot plus, landlords weren't asking for any more. They were getting 13% more than their old lease rates, okay? So in total, what we can see on all of this on the right-hand side of this chart is that the asking rent was up 7.1% and the taking rent was up 9.7%. So just really cool to look at how industrial real estate has been performing in terms of rent growth. Again, we always want to make sure we're getting rent growth and all that. So that's just some cool data on the rental rates and how it works with industrial real estate. The downside of it is of industrial is that it's capital intensive, okay? And so what I mean by capital intensive, it can take a lot of money. If we're buying a 100,000 square foot warehouse, that could be anywhere from a $5 to $20 million deal depending on where it's at. Like I was talking to a guy the other day who found an off-market warehouse. It was outside in North Carolina. It was owner occupied. The owner was looking to get out. I think he was looking to sell his business, and the new buyer didn't need the business, whatever. And he had I think it was a 200,000 square foot warehouse. And the guy I was talking to was going to buy it for $7 million. And he was going to turn around and he was going to lease that warehouse out on triple net, meaning he has no ongoing responsibility, at a rate that would have made that warehouse worth $22 million. Okay, that is a crazy amount of money. Definitely a good deal, but those deals are out there and they do exist. So if you turn your brain off and you say, oh, well, I can't do $7 million deals, well, let's be realistic. $7 million deals, if we need 25% of that money and the bank's going to give us the other 75%, what's 7 million times 25% is $1.75 million. That's a lot of money. But if you have a way to turn $1.75 million into $15 million, I think that you can find a way to go out and find $1.7 million. So don't turn your brain off. I think that industrial assets are definitely something to pay attention to. I actually think that self-storage is kind of a sub-niche within the industrial space. So I'm playing in this space, but it's a broad category. There's a lot of different niches in it, from cold storage to distributions or robotics or whatever it is. But I think it's worth you learning about, because I don't think it's going anywhere, and I think you can make a lot of money in a very passive form in industrial real estate. So that's my take on number 2, industrial real estate.
Thank you so much for watching. There are 4 ways that I can help you on your real estate journey if you enjoyed this content. Number 1, you can have a free copy of this book in PDF or audiobook. The link is in the description. It's a bestseller. Number 2, you can join my free Facebook group where we're constantly adding value in your life in the real estate world. Number 3, you can watch my free training, How to Acquire Your First Investment Property in the Next 90 Days. The link is in the description. Absolutely free. Number 4, like this video, subscribe to the channel, help us grow this so we can get access to more influential people in the real estate world to come on this channel and share their knowledge with you. I hope you like this video. Check out some others on my page, and I'll see you soon.